Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining me on the Slice of Healthcare podcast. I'm your host, Jared Taylor. Joining me today is the founder of Zeal, who was a guest several years ago in the early days of Slice of Healthcare. Varsha, thank you so much for joining us once again. How's it going?
Jared, it's great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here
Like
again.
we've had a lot of people on, and we've had people on several times, but I don't think we've ever had this big of a gap. And a lot's happened since you were last on, because when you were first on, it was I always mess up it was Nurx, right? Just Nurx.
Nurx or Nurx, whatever
Nurx,
you
Nurx.
exactly.
But before the merger took place with 30 Madison, right?
Okay.
And we've stayed in touch since then. Saw the new business. I'm like, let's get Varsha back on. It was fun years ago. It's got to be even more fun now. So yeah, basically, kind of give us the quick snippet first off of,
Yep.
for those that listened to your first episode a while back. Kind of give us the quick version of the career progression to this point.
Sure. So, you know, Nurx was a women's telehealth platform. Started off kind of as the Uber for birth control. And yeah, my journey there, it was super meaningful. And, I think an incredible journey overall. We were able to expand out from being kind of that one point solution to really being a full women's telehealth platform. And that's where we got it to. I started there in around 2019, and we got acquired in 2022. I stayed on, and we got acquired by 30 Madison. I stayed on for about 6 months for a transition and finished up. And the business continues to thrive, which is, I think, very meaningful for me and everybody on the team, because it was something that we cared deeply about and continue to care deeply about. And so, and then I'm happy to tell you about what I've been doing since then.
Yeah, let's talk about, and I know even before the new venture, you're on the board of a few companies. You were always like you've always been involved in other things too, beyond what you were doing at beyond running Nurx before the merger, right? Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
so I am on the board of Top Golf Callaway, which is a really fun and exciting board. A real privilege to be able to be on that board, as they really look to make golf a lot more accessible, especially through Top Golf. I'm also on the board of the Asian Art Museum here in San Francisco, which I'm really passionate about. And I've become an executive partner at Flair Capital, which is an incredible firm with a great group of people. I've had those ties actually for decades, and I think it was just the right stars aligned after we got acquired, and I kind of started to have some more mental bandwidth to be able to think about that kind of relationship. And it's been a really rewarding couple years now.
big fan of Flair. Shout out to Ian over there, who we
Oh,
just put up a guest post from him and his colleague. They kind of went into an in-depth kind of review of the behavioral health stack, which was really
that's right.
interesting. Great article. If anyone hasn't checked that out, be sure to check it out. So let's fast forward to today. You started a new company, Zeal. I always start with this. You're walking down the street. Let's say you're wearing a shirt that says Zeal on it. Someone says, "What's Zeal?" What do you tell them?
What I say is that Zeal is the new group's social platform. It's all about doing activities together in person with friends, friends of friends, and also, a way to make new friends. So, and in activities and interests are the way that we enable that.
And let's talk about before Zeal. It was, and you're going to get a progression from there. Facebook groups were where people were like. Let's talk about maybe what's wrong with Facebook groups that made you want to start Zeal, like
Yeah.
from that perspective for activities.
Yeah. I mean, in the larger sense, we want to disrupt Facebook groups because, when you think about it, at least today, Facebook groups are largely virtual only. huge, enormous groups, they definitely serve a purpose, but it's not about building friendships by spending time in person with people. And so that's what we're really about. So I have this kind of philosophy that the way to build a friendship and a relationship is by having repeated interactions with people on an ongoing basis. And we felt that groups was actually the way to foster that and enable that. So that's really why we're focused on group social platform for groups in to meet in person, to be clear, and not just to sort of be virtual only. And we've built the product to enable people to really spend more time more easily together in person, to get that on the calendar, the scheduling, like all the hassles and hurdles that typically get in the way. The Zeal product helps to actually solve a lot of those challenges.
Yeah, I
But
think
I'm
Facebook.
curious
Yeah,
if you, I mean, I'd love to talk a little bit about, social fitness, and kind of my feelings about that, if that's something of interest.
yeah, I would love to go into that more. What you're working on is not something we often get to talk about on the show. So I would love to let's go into that topic of social fitness. And first off, thank you for building this company and wanting to build this company, because I think there's a lot of people out there, like your market alone with the Facebook groups signals, that alone signals a market. Um, but a lot of stuff, like you were saying, the booking and like the matching up of interest, it gets lost along the way with Facebook groups. But that's not, Facebook groups didn't go after that side of it. This is
Yeah.
a step above that. So, but let's talk about social fitness.
Yeah. So, just to be clear, Zeal is a consumer social app, but I did come to this kind of from my background of Airbnb, where was all about connecting and building real human connection through travel and my healthcare background. And so, for me, I was thinking about, I think there's three pillars of health. One is food is medicine. I'm kind of a health nut, a food nut. The second is around exercise. I'm a real fan of like kind of medicine 3.0 and all of that. And to me, the third pillar of health is, kind of what some people are calling social fitness. It's all about friends, family, relationships, and spending time with people, investing in time um, to really form those friendships and being really intentional about it. And so when I was thinking about what I wanted to do next, I really felt like that is an area that's something that is core to me, what I want to do, frankly, for the rest of my life. It promotes health, it promotes happiness, it promotes longevity, and it's just fun, and I think that is just so important, especially as more and more people are working in a hybrid or a remote environment where we take for granted all of these like little interactions that you used to have, just getting to work on a regular basis. You'd stop by the coffee shop and this and that, but of course also like the meaningful relationships that you have by being in person with people in the office. Now I think people have to be a lot more intentional with their time. Um, and so having, a standing walking group or a recurring fitness group or something where it's, you don't have to do as much planning on a regular basis because you've got your go-to. Um, and it becomes like that much more magical as spend more and more time doing it. So that's kind of what got me really excited about um, this idea because I'm really passionate about social fitness.
And I think it's also the perfect timing for, like, obviously over the last couple years, things have changed where so many companies are now in a hybrid or a total remote structure, which I think opens up, like, if there's more companies now where the employees don't have like maybe as long as of a commute, now they can maybe interact, and like they wanted to do this before, but maybe they didn't fully have the time, and now because they're not commuting, they have more time for this type of stuff. So let's talk about maybe how this space has evolved to the point where, because we, social fitness is not necessarily a new thing, but it
Yeah.
seems like we've definitely talked about it as a society more the last like couple years than we did even 10 years ago, right?
Yeah, I think, there's an increased recognition that, I think COVID changed a lot of things. And, there's sort of the post COVID world still feels different. And I think, yeah, as we were both saying, remote and hybrid work, it opens up time to do different things maybe, but it also, um, removes some of that interaction that people were getting. And so I think that kind of creates a gap and an opening that people are really hungry to fill. I would say there's a lot of trends out there that show that people are a little bit tired of just like being online only. And maybe we took things to an extreme during COVID. And so after that, we're now, sort of really looking for that alternative. But, you see it everything from like doom scrolling to, I mean, honestly, dating apps. I mean, Zeal is not a dating app by any stretch, but, we are trying to promote ways for you to get out, be active, find an interest. Pickleball is booming. Get started. And if you have some friends to do it with, great. We're going to help you kind of get it out of the group chat and make it a reality, which is, a big meme out there that, there's a lot of plans that are stuck in the group chat that never become actualized. But then there's also some people and some interests that you may not know who to do things with, right? I mentioned that I'm on the board of Top Golf Callaway. I am aspiring to become a better golfer. I can golf, but not as well as I'd like. It's never that easy to find women golfers that I want to play with, so I think those are, kind of use cases where you might need help to actually find people to do things with. And ideally, everybody is striving for people that they would have a connection to. So friends of friends, people who are, maybe went to the same school as you or someplace where you have some affinity. Maybe they live in your neighborhood. Some ways to know that you are having a higher likelihood to have a connection with them because ultimately we like to spend time with people because they give you a sense of belonging, you have fun, and that doesn't always happen when you're meeting like just random people. And so that's also what I think is really special about Zeal. We're trying to help you build connections with people where it's sort of your extended community. There's a natural way that you could actually have a connection and not with kind of total randoms.
What type of activities are you seeing like that are the most popular right now that people in social fitness are wanting to engage in?
So pickleball is really really popular, and it's interesting when you think about it. One is um, there's a couple reasons why. I think one is it's so easy to just get started. I mean, you really don't need to, tennis has all these levels and it can be a little bit challenging to kind of get into it. Pickleball, anybody can play. I think that the pickleball community has done a really great job of creating this open play environment where you can typically go down to a court and just, put your paddle in and at least get started. And it makes it easy to just, again, to get started. I think the other thing is, there's a dynamic when you're waiting. Let's say you have a group and you go out and you play. There's typically a dynamic that you might be waiting after you play a game, and that creates time to socialize a little bit. It's kind of like the socializing is built in. So, not to go deep on pickleball, but pickleball is really popular. Fitness groups are popular. People love, this idea of, what we're seeing is people are on Zeal are loving this idea of combining, um, sort of activity with socialization. So go to a fitness class together and then grab coffee or brunch after, or go for a hike and then, grab a pastry, or do a big run because you're preparing for, the half marathon, and then, grab something to eat after and carb load. Just things like that where, you're doing something that I think most, that people want to do physically often, and then combining it with some socializing.
Super interesting. Yeah, it's I'm a tennis player, so I have some beef with pickleball players because they're taking over
Okay.
the courts I like to play at. But I can say what pickleball did better than tennis is, in tennis you go and you play, you're usually it's still very one on one. There's not much
Hmm.
collaboration. Pickleball did a really good job of you're right. It's kind of pickleball is kind of like pickup basketball where you're on the sidelines with people when you're not playing and having
Right.
that conversation where in tennis you're catching your breath when you do decide to take a break. It's not like you're having that opportunity to chat with someone. Um, and pickleball just allows for those much more quick games to take place and switch in and out. So yeah, the pickleball community has done a great job. I still think, I could be wrong on this, but it's a little crazy to see maybe the professional teams that have come out for
I
it.
know.
It's but it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. I think you'll also see, and I've been seeing a lot more with like ping pong too. Like a lot of,
Hmm.
I mean, I don't know if you've seen this much in the app yet, but it seems like the people I knew back in Boston. It seems like the spin, like those bars and
Yeah.
stuff that are also starting to put like ping pong's like the new billiards, right? In terms of if you went to a bar or something, it's more fun to play ping pong than maybe even billiards. Um,
I
yeah,
have a dream to like really get really good at ping pong. We actually have a really nice table at home. It goes largely unused. But yeah, I think ping pong seems like a great um, sport. I don't, not when I play it right now, it's probably not a sport, but and I think as more, we've actually, so we have a feed on Zeal where we actually post events that are coming up to inspire people to want to get out together. And so, yeah, actually, Zeal has posted events at Spin and some of those kinds of places. I think with ping pong, one of the challenges, similar to badminton, which I've seen is like kind of growing in popularity, is just like finding a location. Um, but yeah, I've seen Spin pop up, and there's a place here in the Bay Area called, I think it's called 888, and I think I think it's largely ping pong, and I actually think they're sending um, a player from their club to the Olympics. So yeah, I think that's a really interesting trend that I think bodes well for playing in groups.
yeah, it's ping pong is a lot more difficult than it looks too. Like
Yeah.
I because I play tennis my whole life, like I was always pretty good at ping pong until you play like I used to there was a group of people that they worked at State Street Bank that were in the same building as me, and we had a ping pong table when I lived in Boston. And these like I guess a lot of them went to school over here. They were originally from China, and they
Hmm.
said China like more than even tennis or anything else. Like ping pong's huge over there. They were saying, and I used to get my butt kicked by them. And then it's a nice like it is just it's difficult. It is way more difficult than it looks, but I do think you'll see more and more of it. But to your point, it is where are the tables? It's not like pickleball. It's not like tennis. They're
Yeah.
still limited, but that can change. It's not like it's super expensive to get a table either, right? It's not the most
No.
ridiculous thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And so I think, paddle is another one that is, growing and popular. Well, it's already been in some places, it's even more popular than pickleball. So I think all of these sports are just, you know, really interesting as ways to use the word like commune with people. I read an article this morning about bocce ball that's growing in popularity in Southern California. Folks have put in a lot of bocce parks, I guess, and it's really about building community. And so, I think from Zeal's perspective,